This is a public service announcement. Hi guys, it's Jason here. I just wanted to make everyone aware that during the producing of this episode, the second half of my audio track didn't get recorded when we thought it would. We're looking into why that happened. So we did what we could to salvage the rest of the episode and still get the really good content that we got from Tobias and talking about the subject of twin sons. So yeah, we hope you enjoy it. We just apologise in advance if any of the conversation sounds a little bit weird, but we made it as genuine as we possibly could. Enjoy the show. Now back to regular scheduled programming. Hello and welcome to the Nordic Takedown podcast. My name is Captain the Jason Kirk. That's not my name, Jason the Captain Kirk. I've never messed that one up before. Anyway, welcome to this amazing episode where we're going to be talking about twin sons, and we have Jonah with us.
Hey man, what's up? Great to be back. Episode 47.
Yeah, well,
finally talking about twin sons.
Yeah, you must be too young to remember the "what's up" thing.
Yeah, I think it's more of a cultural thing that people reference and you pick up.
Okay, fair enough. Because that was like 99. I'm not sure you were born then, I think. And we also have a returning guest with us, Tobias Lind. Welcome back.
Hello. I'm not too young, so I remember it. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here.
No worries. It used to be that really cool thing, right? They'd be like, yeah, what's up? Like, all the way down the phone. And now people that say it now are just the non-cool people who living in the past. Which
Thanks,
is what
Jason.
we do.
Thanks.
Yeah. I was on about myself because I keep saying it myself. But yeah, Tobias, you are back. We had you in on an early episode talking about your Chirrut win up in Stockholm for a tournament there, which was a really, really good episode. But we have you back on here, and today we're going to be talking about the Twin Sons format, and we are really super, super excited. So excited that we've actually put a week-long planning into an episode, like for the first time. I say a week-long planning. We started talking about it a week ago, and then we picked up the planning again today. But that is, it's better than we have done in the past. But before we get into that, let's talk about some of the happenings around the world of SWU in the world and locally here as well, because we had a showdown at the weekend in Gothenburg. We've had a few showdowns. We had the PQ last week, of course. Showdown in Gothenburg this week, which we streamed. And I think Geerkel and Gustav, he won that one, so congratulations to him. We can't do this for all of them, but we did stream this one, so that was a really good fun thing. And for those of you who watched the stream, there wasn't commentary, but I think they did a really good job to have the round numbers up, etc., which really worked. So we're going to try and do some more of those streams so that we can just get some good Star Wars content and Star Wars play out there, because and he played against Matthias from the podcast in the final, so a very good matchup there with the Boss Green. So he played, I think he played Django TT versus a Boss Green in the final there as well. So if you get a chance to have a look on our YouTube channel, go and have a look at that one. What else has been going on? What have you been up to, Jonah? Very quickly.
Honestly,
we're going to get on to Tobias very soon, because we want to know what Tobias has been up to for the last 6 months.
Yeah.
But Jonah, what have you been up to the last week?
It's been super fun after the Copenhagen PQ. Kind of just got another boost of wanting to build decks and try other stuff. So I'm just playing around with other decks. Some Yoda red, kind of the same as Anti Blue. Actually revisiting old Han a bit. Everybody knows Han yellow, but I think it's very cool that he's playable in blue, red, and green. So actually revisiting Han green a little bit just to see if there's any potential. And finding it a lot of fun to follow the new spoilers and just
Oh,
chat
the
with
new
the community.
spoilers are amazing. I mean, we're not going to spoil them now. I mean, we're not going to spoil anything because they're already out there. But something like the new Thrawn, the new Chimera, it is looking so incredibly insane. I'm really looking forward to that. And I might even be playing Blue-Green Villainy for the first time in forever come the new set because Thrawn is amazing.
Of course, looking really forward to the Stockholm PQ in 2 weeks, 8th of Feb, and the Oslo PQ the week after, the 15th of February. So,
and we are streaming both with casters, with commentary, with guests. So yeah, put that in your diary. Tobias, you going to any PQs?
It's not 100% clear yet. Like, I live in Stockholm, so I should be at that one. But my wife works at the hospital, so when we have kids, so and she's working that weekend, so I'm still trying. I have a plan to get to the Oslo one, and unless that falls apart, then I'm gonna be there. But that is the one that looks most likely right now, and then I live in Stockholm, which is So I'm hoping to. It looks like I'm going to be in Oslo, and I'm still trying to be to Stockholm.
Yeah, nice,
amazing. Well, we will both be in Oslo, so we will see you there. But we're here with you now, which is really good. Jonah, did you have anything else that you want to?
I heard from you. You're gonna guest on another channel soon.
I the thing about this, they asked me, not Jonah, who's really good at Star Wars, not Adam, who's really good at Star Wars, not Victor, who's really good at Star Wars. They asked the guy who is the other guy on the podcast. But it's going to be really, really fun. It's like kind of casual premiere. Let's have a little bit of fun, off meta decks and everything. So I'm probably going to take the latest version of my Chewbacca, which we still haven't done a video yet about it, but I'm actually quite excited. It's a lot of fun. No, it's not top tier. Yes, I'm really sad that it's not top tier, but it's fun. So so that is on Holocron Card Hub. I'll put the link. Try and remember to put the link in the show notes. And he's like the biggest German Star Wars Unlimited streamer on YouTube. So this is quite cool. I won't be speaking German. Jonah, you have to teach me some. All I know is 999. But that'll be cool. Come along and support him. And that is on the 5th of February in the evening, like 8:15. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and maybe we can link the stream in the show notes also. So
absolutely, we'll do that so you can get there and get subscribed. That is going to be a lot of fun. Super, super excited about that one.
I'm a bit curious to hear from you, Tobias, since it's been a long time you've been on. Like, how have you liked the development of the game? Have you been playing weeklies? And now Twin Suns, how's that been?
Yeah, so it's super fun to be here. I haven't played a lot, so we did the video back in, I think it was May, something like that. I was on the podcast with my Chiritech, and then after that I played up till the release of set 2, and like the last weeks there we played some Twin Suns in Stockholm and stuff like that, so it was really fun. And then set 2 released, but it was also summer break, so vacation stuff happens. And then my autumn was hectic. I was more weekends away than when I was at home for travel, for work, so I missed the entirety of set 2. Like, I didn't play a single game. I didn't I played a couple of games on Carabas for a week because I was bored, but like it didn't happen. But I collected some cards. That was kind of what I did, and then I got back into it with set 3. So started to discussing decks. Yeah, you heard about the Anakin Blue deck. It was super fun to get back into it. It was like for me the successor from Shirit. So like just a better red blue deck with more power. And then I played a couple of locals with that deck. Played some Twin Suns at locals. But yeah, that's it. So I haven't played a lot. I've been talking about the game since late November when the set 3 released. But yeah, that's kind of what it's been up to. So it's also been it's been a break for me, but I do really like where the game is heading. I do think that the next set here is looking super fun. Like the spoilers are.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Just when we were starting the recording, the new bass dropped, and just all three of us just went.
Oh yeah, like literally, it came up with 2 minutes before we hit the record button.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the honors on talking about what this card is?
Yeah, so it's a new rare base. It's in Vigilance. It's called Colossus. It has a text on it that says draw one less card in your starting hand. It sounds bad, but also when you look at the health total in the top, you have 35 HP. So it's what is it called? The set 3 card that draws your card, the red one, when you deploy your leader, and you lose some HP for it. And now it's the opposite. It's cool. I do like this. This set is going to be fun. I do think that FFG still need to work some stuff out, but I do think that the game is getting better. So I think that's fun.
Yeah, I mean the success of the game was, I think, even unexpected on their levels as well. So I think they may have thought they had some time to fix a few things before they got to this level, and pushing out this level of even the season 0 planet qualifiers, etc.
If you compare it to other TCGs, it's 1 or 2 years after some of the bigger ones that are, of course, Top Magic and that kind. But it has a couple years to go to catch up. But I do think it's on its way. I do think that the core game mechanic is really good. So I do think it can work.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and I think people are coming over from Magic and from other games to Star Wars. I keep seeing people wanting to come up and buy in boxes and cards and stuff like that. So it's we're in a good place.
And I also do think that Twin Suns is one of the biggest reasons to make the jump over to the game, because I do think that if you are a casual player, I do think that this format is really good. And I played. I played Flesh and Blood before, like I talked about another cast, and that multiplayer format is not good. Or it's it can be okay, but it's not good. It's not something that you cannot build a community around the multiplayer format. It's something you do once or twice at the bar or something like that. But Twin Suns, you could actually build a form. I do think that it could be something that okay, we have our Twin Suns day and then we have our premiere day. That could be something that a local scene can build if they want to. And I do think that it's going to catch a lot more players because it's good enough.
I completely agree, because I was about the Flesh and Blood side as well, because I was also very involved in the Flesh and Blood locally here in Quivda, really pushing to get the weekly play going, etc. And I even won the Professor's box, the round table box thing, and I won that as a prize. Still hasn't been played because I couldn't get people to play with me. But for that reason, no one wanted to. Is a very competitive game, and people just want to go off one-on-one within that game. But Twin Suns is so much fun, which is a really good segue into actually talking about Twin Suns and what this is, and diving into how we can get the most out of this format and how it can maybe enrich your communities. So Jonah, just give us a reminder about what is Twin Suns. What are the differences between Premier and this, and what do we need to know about?
I think that's probably smart to do, considering last time we talked about it, none of us had played it, and it was just okay, how does this format work really? But I have done my homework. So Twin Suns is a singleton format. So instead of playing your 50-card Premier deck with maximum three copies of each card, you can only have one copy of each card. So that's already a kind of deck building restriction that makes you play a lot of cards that you wouldn't normally play, maybe, because you need 50 different. And right now it's 50, but as soon as set 4 releases, Jump to the Lightspeed, it's going to be 80 cards minimum. So that's going to require even more. And to have all of those cards, you also kind of need more aspects. So at Twin Suns, hence the name, you're using 2 leaders and 1 base. So instead of just having 2 aspects and then the heroism or villainy, you now have 3 of the 4 colors. If you want, you can, of course, go for the double or I guess even triple if you really.
Well, the only restriction there is that the 2 leaders have to be either heroic or villainy. You cannot have heroic and villainy together unless it's the new Palpatine, which obviously has to start with a
but he's counted as a heroic leader.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah. But then you can mix and match and get a few canon moments into that.
Yeah, that's really
sorry,
cool.
I cut you off, Jonah. Carry on.
Yeah, so Twin Suns is a multiplayer format, so that's already a big difference. Made for 4 players, and that has to also come with some rules changes. Because if you're familiar with Premier, you have the super tactical action of passing, right? Where you kind of want to see what your opponent does and then react. But when you're playing Twin Suns, you're 4 people at the table, so you're taking actions going around clockwise, and you can't pass. So if you can't play a card, if you can't do an action, then you have to take a I don't know what they call it, a token.
A token, yeah.
So you have,
which is either the initiative, the blast, or the
planning.
The planning token.
So there's three of them. So that means 1 player won't get a token each phase. But the initiative does what it still does in Premiere. You get to start the next phase, or next action phase. The blast, however, deals 1 damage to each opponent's base. And the planning token lets you draw a card and then put a card on the bottom of your deck, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and it's any card, so you don't have to put that card. You can put any card in your hand on the bottom of the deck.
So almost Yoda's ability, but you can't put it back on top.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that covers the rules. Have I forgotten something?
No, I think it does. Yeah, I mean, you can play 3-player, 4-player. I'm not sure if it's supported to 5-player, but, it's a casual format, so, there's nothing's going to stop you. But obviously, with 3 players, everyone gets a token. With 4 players, 1 person doesn't get a token.
Yeah.
So, and it's designed for 4, so I think kind of the dynamics and it plays maybe best at that count, but that's, I guess, subjective. I haven't tried it too much.
Yeah. Cool.
So the game ends. Should we talk about that, how it ends?
Yes, that's some rules we've forgotten. And that's very crucial.
So glad you're here, Tobias.
Yeah. Clearly, Jesus and I are not the experts, so we needed to buy this one.
So the game end, have you got the game end?
Yeah.
Jonah?
So if you maybe come from other multiplayer formats, you often have like the last man standing thing, where you just have to defeat everyone else. But in Twin Suns, actually, as soon as 1 player is or 1 base is destroyed by having damage equal to the health on the base, then that action phase will be the last action phase. And to determine the winner is then the player with the most remaining
health, yes,
health on their base. So that means if you have different life counts on the bases, that might matter. And crucially, the player who takes out the other player who stand defeated, they get to heal 5 damage from their base.
Yeah.
So
just the first time, just the first person to be defeated.
No,
the person that gets the defeated gets the +5 damage. It's not every single base.
Are you sure?
At least that's when we played. That's what I think we did a rule check. So I'm confident that we had that.
It doesn't happen that often, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so not only are you trying to kind of end the game, obviously, by damaging other people's bases, but you're also at the same time trying to keep your base healthy. So when the game ends, you will be the one with the most remaining health, and hence the winner. And it's also kind of a game of chicken who gets to do the last finishing blow and actually heal that 5. So that rule is very important.
And a really, really, really good element of the game.
Yeah.
A really element that I really, really enjoyed. For that, when we played this as our kind of Christmas term finisher for Malatorsk for our competitive weekly play season, where we do a league week by week, and we alternate between draft and premier, and then if you get 3 points for turning up, and then points depending on how many games you win during the evening. And so we did like a little presentation. We went and had pizza and stuff like that, and then we played Twin Suns, and very, very casual. And so we played this, and I'm going to talk about my deck that I played a little bit later. But I went 2 out of 3 wins out of that, so I'm totally a pro in this one, whereas I may not do so much in Premier. I'm the best Twin Suns player here. Sorry, hey Tobias, you're still sitting in the corner there. So yeah, the day after, I was at my Christmas party, and I played Commander for the first time. Magic Commander for the first time. And my colleague who had the decks, he had bought the Modern Horizons 3, all 3 decks. So he spent the money, which was, some of them were like 750 crowns, some like nearly 1,000 crowns or something for these, like, I guess he didn't do any mods to them. They were just out of the box things. So they were pretty competitive. And it was a very, very different vibe, because it was all about last man standing, as we've just said. And it was about, okay, we want to destroy you first, and then we'll battle this out between us. And we all ended up around the same, around 23, 24 life by the time we had to go and eat. But it was still a very, very different thing. Like, in my mind, I was trying to deal damage equally to them, because I was trying to take them down equally and keep my health quite high, when I really should have been just focusing on one person. With Twin Suns, you have to be spreading the damage as equally as you can.
Yeah.
Because you don't want one person to die really quickly and then 2 other people have 30 health left over. That was one very, very important thing.
Yeah, that is something that happens a lot the first time someone plays Twin Suns, especially if they're coming from Commander. I played with a couple of different people, and when you see, like, let's say the 3 of us plays a game, Jonah decides that I'm going to kill Jason, and just attacks, and I'm like sitting there not taking any damage, but I attack you for 3-4 damage here and there, so you take like 7-8 damage, Jonah, and then all of a sudden you make the killing blow. So even though you heal your 5, you're still lost 3-4 HP, and I haven't lost anything, so I have more remaining HP than you, so you're gonna lose. Like, and that can, when there are 4 people, it can happen even faster, because if one person is just sitting there not getting touched, 2 people are taking some damage, and 1 person are just getting hammered, then the one who's not getting touched is gonna sit there and like, okay, I'm just gonna win because we're killing each other.
And there's the other element to there as well, because when one person is focusing on someone else, takes the focus away from you to focus on someone else, you've got the possibility to build up your board a little bit more, and focus on you a little bit to stabilize yourself, while other people are getting the thing as well. So the dynamics are, I don't think I've been in this situation, even playing board games. Like, I play a lot of board games, and I can't compare the Twin Sun situation even to a board game, where you're having to balance all of these different things at the same time. And so it's a really, really special format in that way. And I had so much more fun. I mean, yes, I had fun playing Commander. It was quite good. I claim that I won because, you know, apparently they both attacked me when I had to go to the toilet. So, and then the game finished. I don't believe them. But the other thing is like actually the whole magic thing, and this is the general magic versus Star Wars and even Flesh and Blood and stuff, is where you do all your stuff and then it's the other person to do all their turns.
Yes.
And then it comes back to you. And you have to pass your turn when you know you're done. And but the one action going around, I wanted to do one thing and see what someone else was going to do.
Yeah, and
the whole time I did one thing. And I looked at my my colleague over there, just thinking. He looked at me. He's like, "Are you done?" It's like,
yeah.
What do you mean? I've done my action.
And honestly, that part
and the rest,
that part, I find it even like more of an upgrade coming from Commander than the game design and the game condition that will enforce you to kind of spread the aggression on all players. Like the former thing or the latter is like really cool how they, by having this end game condition, have kind of enforced players to have this gentleman's agreement, having to spread who we're targeting and so forth. But what Jason just mentioned, the downtime is so much less. Like if you're playing a game of Commander or something similar where you're taking a turn where you're doing so many actions, you're doing all of your stuff, then it could literally take 10 minutes or more between your turns, just going around the four of you. But in Stars Unlimited, you're just doing one action. And it's so clear when it's your turn. Like your neighbor, okay, I play this card. Then you know, it's me now. I can immediately do what I want to do. Or they attack. So it's so much more fast-paced. You know there's only going to be one action. And you know it's going to get back to you pretty soon. Like, you know, your opponent can't suddenly do some magical great triple clone combo.
The one action thing is so good in a multiplayer format like this. Like it goes back to when you play like an older Euro style game or a newer Euro style game. Like that is one thing that they changed. It's like if you go back to like the older like early 2000 games, you're going to feel like you're gonna have to wait for other people. But if you play a newer Euro style game, everybody just do one thing and it goes around the table a lot more. It goes so and I do think that this has captured it. And I do think that's really good to make everybody engage with the game the entire time and everybody are involved the entire time.
And it's easier to keep up as well, because when you're waiting 10 minutes between your turns, it's really easy to switch off a bit, just maybe check your phone and stuff like that. He's just doing his thing and etc. Maybe you're looking at what his board state there, but you have to be, you're like constantly switched on. Oh, you're doing that. Okay, that's great. And you get a good banter around the table. You get this, that. And then I remember my first game. Like I had a bombing run in my hand, waiting to drop it at the perfect moment in the ground arena. And just before I did that, went round to Matthias two before me, and then he went and played the Super Laser Blast. And I was like, I held on to that for now. But it was just a really. I was just like, oh, seriously, like it was a really, really annoying thing, because it would have allowed my Chewbacca to also be beefed up and push as well. So it was a big combo that I was waiting for, and then he beat me to the board clear. So just like moments like that was actually like a fun moment in the game that everyone could appreciate, rather than, oh man, I've just been destroyed, or you just got rid of my stuff as well, and be really annoyed. The experience was really, really enriching. Between the two.
I've also, while we've been talking, I've been double checking, and it's every time you defeat a player, you heal 5 HP. So it is possible to keep defeating.
Okay.
It
is every time. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarification. It probably, okay, that's cool.
It doesn't happen that often, but if there are 2 people to kill, you can kill both of them and heal for both of them.
Okay, okay,
that would be a good
every time. So.
Healing for 10. Wow.
I mean, you know, if you get everyone down to like 1 health each left, and then just take the token,
Blast,
I don't know.
the blast token,
blast token is so good. There were
and that 15 health. Thank you very much.
Yeah, on the latest FFG Twin Sun streams they did with set 3 when that kind of just released or just before it released, something like that. The game was actually a 3-way tie because one of the players took the blast counter, and then all of a sudden the math ended up so that one was already dead, and he pinged the other 2 players and put everybody at the same amount of HP.
Wow!
Because the game actually, so when the phase ends, and if you share HP with someone else, it's a tie. If you look at the rules, there's 2 winners or 3 winners if everybody's on the same HP. Yes, but you can also choose someone with the blast token.
When it does happen, it's actually fun. Like, joint victory.
Yeah. It's the 3-3 Denmark-Sweden game from the Euros back in the day.
Well, I mean, it's those rare, fun board game moments that you remember, not because you won, but because something very, very out of the ordinary happened.
Because it was awesome.
yeah. To put it shortly, yeah. So I think that's the comparison that we go there. So if you're kind of on the fence, where kind of sell up your commander decks and come over and play Star Wars, then we've just convinced you. But let's have a quick look at the deck building element of this format. We do have a question. There's something we want to come back to at the end about competitive versus casual, and we'll kind of come back to that because that's a really, really important thing. But the going on about like the experience and getting ready to do deck building. What's a good way to approach deck building with this? Because right now we've got 50 cards. It's going to be 80 cards in a couple of months' time. I don't know, but Tobias, you've made like 9 decks already, or like maybe not physically, but you've probably built up on the SWU or something.
Yeah.
But Jonah and myself, before you give your advice, Jonah, how did you go about doing your deck before Tobias tells us we did it wrong? Like a 20-30 second thing of how did you?
I'll put it very easy explanation. It was at the time where I played Han Blue. No,
yep.
Yeah. The young Han from set 2. I had my physical deck. I was going down to Essen. I wanted to bring a Twin Suns deck, so I was like, okay, I'll just take this, slap on green because I love it, and put all the good cards together. So I basically just took my Han deck, my Sabine deck, smashed them together, and chose 2 leaders that kind of had some synergy. So I picked Rey and Cassian. So the idea there was that I wanted like 2 power things, give them an experience with Rey to go up to 3 power, attack, and draw a card with Cassian. And then I just played like a lot of great cards, so it was too strong to be fun. No, it was still fun.
Nice. Okay, the way I did this was I had my Chewbacca deck, which I kind of recently just built, and I was quite enjoying. It was a blue-yellow Chewbacca, and so I had 1 card left from each of that deck. I took 1 card out, and then I wanted to put young Han in as well, because there's a lot of grit in the Chewbacca one, and so he will bring out things with grit, give them 2 damage, and so you get that thing, and then you also have the Sentinel side of, so you get to be a little bit aggressive and also help the Sentinel side of Chewbacca, which is a really, really fun element of probably a big reason of why I did quite well in this. But when I did that and put all the cards in, I had 80 cards. And I was like, oh man, if I take 30 cards out. I really wanted it to be an 80 card format. And I thought about just turning up with 80 cards because it's a minimum. So, no one's going to have a go at me for having 80 cards. But I did what I could and put basically a load of the Han 2 deck that I took to Malmö in that one as well. So Great Dragon, K2, Poe Dameron, etc., etc. Luke, of course, yeah. That kind of went together really well, and then a couple bombing runs and those cards that are good for general board aggression cards. So that's the way I went about it, and the Sentinel did really well. Tobias, your turn. How you've done 9 of these?
Yeah.
Are we looking at the way of doing this, or how could we adapt our way of doing this, or how do you even start doing Twin Suns decks?
I think that is the beauty of it. Like I don't think it really matter. Like that is the best thing is about Twin Suns is that like it works. Like you said, like Jonah just okay, here's 2 heroes that works well together, and I have a color that I like with them, so I'm just gonna do that. Or you like Chewbacca, and then like, oh yeah, Han is good fun with that, and they kind of works together because Wookiees and Han works together, and they kind of don't because Han and Chewbacca doesn't share any like their action doesn't work together, but it still works because they share a card pool instead. So I don't really think it matters. I do think that the most important thing is that it is a deck that you want to play. I do think that is just like I said, my first Twin Suns deck were Luke. Like I just wanted to play Luke, like because it was set 1. My first hero I looked at was Luke. I was like, he's great, and I was like, I wanna put shields on units because then they're gonna trade better. My unit's gonna stay on board, and your units are not gonna stay on board because I have shields and you don't. What I realized then is that if I'm putting shields on that, then it costs me resources, and I'm gonna play a lot of low-cost units.
Yeah.
So I need more cards. And how do you get more cards? Yeah, you play Cassian.
Yeah.
So then you put in Cassian, and then I played green because back before I played Shurit in set 1, I played some Luke green. So I just wanted, that's just how I started. But that was my first Twin Suns deck. That deck I then developed and really like and changed a lot from. So I kind of have like the core of that deck is still one of my decks that I'm working on. That's one of the decks I'm physically bringing with me every time I go to locals.
Nice.
And right now it's Cassian Ray instead. Exactly what Jonah is talking about.
Yeah.
But I swapped it to yellow instead of green because I do think that yellow is really good, especially with Cassian. We can talk about like different type of things, but so that is one deck that I'm always bringing. But I do think there's so many fun decks to build. Like look at like a competitive deck that is running around like now is Bosk. Yes. Really strong competitive unit. Like, and he has a pretty interesting ability where you can ping something with a bounty. And how do you give people bounty? Yeah, you play Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
So you give people bounties and then you ping them, which is really good. And the other thing with bounties is that if you put a bounty on something, then you tell everybody else, just go kill that thing.
Yeah, that's so nice in Twin Suns because it's the player who
kills
does the finishing blow. Yeah.
So then you can play that. I do think that is also one of the stronger combinations you can build. And then for me, like when I started to building that deck, I was like, let's go Underworld Bounty Hunters. I like yellow in that, so I just smacked the yellow base, and it was also fun because then I can run Jabba's Palace. Like I do think that's the fun things about like what base are you running with the heroes? But also like I built up a deck I'm calling the New Daimyo, which is Boba with Fennec on a yellow base. Because they are on Jabba's Palace, it has to be the yellow. So then it's the theme about those two together on the yellow base because you see them in the movie, in the show. So and then you're like, all of a sudden you're in double cunning. So what does happen now? And then you have fun things happening.
Bounce, cunning card. Wow.
And I think I want to take like a comment to what you said there with that kind of everything works. And that's also, I feel like it's in the nature of a multiplayer format that it will always be some self-balancing because you can easily see, oh no, this player is getting ahead, we have to target them. So even though somebody might play like a really good leader combination with base and like super strong cards, you can still be there with your super thematic, maybe not as optimized deck, and still talk to the other players and like, okay, let's target this guy and still have a great time, even though you are all having like
because you're not the only focus for the opponent's damage. There are 3 other people who every single opponent can. 2 other people who every single opponent.
So it's kind of more forgiving.
Attack. Yeah, exactly. So you can pick your moments, work out, do people want to hit me or not? How can I put that focus onto other people, even with those, weaker heroes? For example, Sentinels. I had a really good time because people didn't want to hit my Sentinels. They want to do damage. They want to do something. They want to take people's bases down. They don't want to touch something with Sentinel. And so I was just sat in the corner. They were hitting each other. I was just like, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'll just stay here until they realized what was happening. I was like, okay, we need to kind of start dealing with these. So even if you haven't got the strongest heroes, play it well. And...
I do think that if you go back to the comparison with Commander there, where you talk about the like, okay, I'm bringing a strong deck and someone else is bringing a flavorful, like this is my favorite heroes, like, but the deck is not strong, or I don't have all the legendaries or whatever. Like, it doesn't really matter because you can see who is in the lead and you can just let's go kill that one, like, because like your deck is never stronger than 3 decks. Like it's impossible. No. You don't have enough resources. Like even if you're running like a Kira, which is probably the strongest leader in the game, because it just puts everybody on like lower HP. Like you can still kill that unit because it's not. So I do think that, and that is also like the way it works with. It's not about eliminating everybody, so it's not like in the end it's a heads-up game where the strongest deck is gonna win. This is like you just need to sneak in the damage and heal some or whatever, so you have the most HP when someone dies. So so like we have had games where the objectively worst deck has won. We played a week and a half ago, and I brought 3 decks and. There were 4 people and we didn't have a 4th Twin Suns deck. So we did exactly what you said, Jon. I was like, okay, strip down a Premier deck down to Singleton. And then we went to the common bulk box. We picked another color and then we just brought out every common we could find from the 2 colors that he was playing and the new colors that we like, oh, this sounds good, until we went to 50 and then we played. Yeah. And that deck won. Because like, and it's like, it's impossible that it's optimized. It's not like it's not even like it just was. Let's go. Because like
and you can't plan matchups with Twin Suns. There is no way to plan matchups and say right now I've got to have a card for this. I've got to have a card for this. I've got to have a card for this. It's like, well, you don't have to plan matchups. I think you're putting too much effort into it if you're trying to plan for every single matchup to have to win that as well, which is quite interesting. Which is it begs the thing. I think Jonah, we had a little quick discussion beforehand as well. About the competitiveness of Twin Suns.
Yeah, I think right now I feel like it has both. Like it's of course a casual format, but when you're building a deck, you can really try to super optimize and make it the best as you want. Like that can be super fun, but you don't have to. And like as Tobias said, it kind of just works out. You don't need to really try hard and find the best lines, but the fact that you still can makes it so fun, and the deck building experience is so different from Premier. So you kind of have this new space where you see all of these new cards, you haven't played them before maybe, and you realize, oh wow, this card is a great Twin Suns card, and it's super fun. That
or even find out combos that you hadn't seen before to add to your Premier deck.
Yeah,
as well. you know, when you see how things interact with other cards over the table. So actually that worked really well with that, kind of build a deck around it. I mean, that was a side point for what I actually wanted to say, but it just came to my head and I've got a microphone, so it just happens. But the casual versus competitiveness, like even if you do want to be the biggest competitive deck that you possibly can, there's no guarantee it's going to win.
Yeah.
Which is where, with Tobias's point just now, with that situation where they just put a deck together within 5 minutes, and that one ended up winning because that's just what happened within the game.
Yeah.
And so it's about having fun. So the focus with Twin Suns is then about the value that it can have to the community that you're trying to build.
Yes,
building up relationships, having inviting that it's the people you're playing against, the people in the community that are in the focus, not okay, I'm playing a Han yellow, I'm playing a Sabine green again, etc., that you maybe get when you're just going down and playing Premier. The people are the important thing because you're having fun with the players.
Yeah, I do think that is super important. And for me, as I identify as a competitive player. Like that, I really love the competitive game. Like I played Flesh and Blood because of the competitive play. I traveled, went to Pro Tours and stuff like that, and especially now with the way my last year has been, where I haven't really had the time to put into the game in the same way I've had before, or in any game. So like I missed the entirety of set 2, but I'm still loving the game because I can spend time in Twin Suns. And it doesn't matter. Like I don't have to be up to date to every single deck. I don't have to be super competitive. Because Twin Suns is such a good format and fun format, even for someone like me. And that is like a big reason why I'm out of Flesh and Blood at the moment. Is I don't really want to be competitive in that game, but I don't want to play it because I don't like it casually. But I do like Twin Suns casually. And I do, like you said, like I'm a big board game because of the player, because of the casual, like hang around with fun people and just either hanging at the board game, but also like sitting at home, having a beer, drinking some wine, like just having a laugh together. And I do think that there is so much things you can do with Twin Suns. And it doesn't matter if you're bringing a good deck or a bad deck. It's just you're just having fun together.
Yeah, and as you said there, it's kind of cool how this format can kind of open up Stars Unlimited for a completely different style of interacting with it. Like, as you said, more of a casual social thing, like a board game, instead of the whole card game ecosystem where you follow the meta, you go to weeklies, you go to tournaments. Like, that style of following a game takes a lot of time, takes a lot of commitment. It kind of requires a lot, but just having the kitchen table Twin Suns game is so much easier to get into.
Yes. Yeah, it's super easy to get into. It's there is a reason why Commander is the Magic's biggest format. Like there's no doubting. Like that is how they make their money. Like they do promote everything else, but they make their money. They are a big game still because Commander. Like sure they're big at everything else too, but like Commander is like, it's huge. And I do think that Twin Suns in time could be or should be the same way. Like we should look at it that way. Like I understand that most people that get into card games are there for like, you want the card game experience about like the trading, the buying, the playing, the competitive deck building. But I also do think that if we do it correctly, like as a community, we are going to explode if we figure out how to catch the more social players, the people that like, I want to show up somewhere. Like I'm gonna miss 2 months, but when I come back, I still want to be able to play. And Twin Suns is that.
Yeah, that's super cool. Oh, I think you muted there, Jason. I can't hear you at least. But maybe before we go into, like, we had another section with some questions from Discord. I'm a bit curious, Tobias, if you maybe could just give us some of the leader combinations you've cooked up.
Okay, so the leader combinations I have in my deck builder right now, I have Jabba's crew, which is Jabba and Bosk on Jabba's palace. So green, red, yellow. I do have new Daimyo, which is Boba Fennec on Jabba's Palace, so double cunning real. I do have Father and Son Go Hunting, which is Boba Fett and Jango Fett, with a red base. On the red base, and I'm running Shadow Collective because they Collective Camp because they both flip on 5. So on 5, I'm gonna draw 2 more cards. That is why I'm running. So I want the power spike at 5. Then
But
I'm
wait,
running,
is this the set 1 Boba, right?
yes, set 1 Boba.
Okay, because he's not suspended in Twin Suns.
Correct.
Ah.
Yeah. So the power spike at 5, where you talk about Boba Fett, where you can get double the resources, but how can you spend them? Well, if you draw 2 extra cards, you're going to be able to spend them.
That's nice.
With the Shadow Collective Camp. Then I have a deck I'm calling Second Wave Incoming, which is what Tambour and Note Gumray on Droid Manufacturing, so to double command. So this is about the plan is to get 200 battle droids, and then you play stuff to buff the battle droids.
That's so fun.
And then you have some really huge exploit cards, but there is no medium exploit cards. It's either super wide or exploit big things.
Nice.
And what buffs them, and Newt makes more of them. And so that is a deck I have. I have a deck with just good cards, what I'm calling Villainy Beatstick. It's Iden and Darth Vader on Command Center. And that is just a good villainy cards.
Yeah.
That's just a deck I built just to bring with me because people want to play a strong deck and not maybe just a fun deck. And Iden is healing a lot, so you can heal away from lethal and win with her. And Darth Vader is pinging people, ping shields can take the last damage on someone that survives, stuff like that.
That's nice.
And then I have a deck called Overwhelmingly Imperial, which is small with Overwhelm, and then you have Grand Moff Tarkin on the blue base.
Nice.
So you have Grand Moff, you have all the Imperials, you're buffing them, and then using them all to attack and Overwhelm and deal extra damage on the bases. So then you can attack the Sentinels, and all the extra damage you have is not wasted. It goes to your base.
Nice.
Then I have my Chariot deck, which is I paired with Mando, and we put them on Sundari, which is a Vigilance base, and that is Mandalore base. So I'm calling it, this is the Voltron. So it's all about buffing. I think I have 18 upgrades. I have everything that you can run in double blue cunning. And the fun thing there is that when you put an upgrade on Chariot, you tap Mando and tap something else.
Yeah.
So Mando taps stuff down with his ability, and then Chariot just gets bigger. And just because you can't beat the wide board, you can instead exhaust them with the Mandalorian. Next deck is Coordinate This, which is just a Coordinate Republic deck with Captain Rex and Ahsoka Tano on a blue base. Just a lot of Republic. It's almost purely set 3. Just all the Coordinate, all the Republic. Just a tribal deck.
That's also super cool, deck building space to really focus on a set and go into the theme that the set can bring.
Yeah, exactly. And this deck is like that. Is same with the Newt Gunray Batam board deck. It's also it's the separatist version of this deck. It's here, how do we go wide and then exploit? And this is how do we go wide with Coordinate. So it's it's a set 4 draft deck with an extra hero. Then I have a deck. Yes. Then I have a. Oh no! I'm getting so excited. Yeah, we need to talk about the 80 cards because it's so good. I have one deck I'm calling Blue Wall, which is Chewbacca and Obi-Wan on a green base. I have the double blue, and then I'm just running. It's either huge stuff or it's 3 or less. So everything is Chewbacca every turn.
Sentinels.
And then on 7, I'm flipping 2 Sentinels. And then Obi-Wan is just healing everything. So if you don't kill it, I'm going to keep healing it.
Yeah.
So it's all about Sentinels. It's all about healing. So I'm running everything that like heals my units, buffs my units. Yeah. And then the last deck, which is my baby that I've been working on since like set 1, which is I'm calling it give and take, which is Rey is giving tokens and Cassian is taking cards. On a yellow base. It can be green base also, but I do love there are some yellow cards that are good. It's mostly a red blue deck. With some yellow.
Actually, it's super fun that we built like the same deck as our first one.
Yeah.
So going from 50 cards now up to when Jump to Lightspeed, they changed them all so you can have 80 cards in your deck. How can we take these 50 card decks and then make them 80 card decks? What steps are you going to go through, or what steps can we go through to adapt to that?
So step 1 is that when you have 50 cards, you need somewhere between 11 and up turn 1 place if you want a turn 1 play to be able to have the shot at it with the mulligan. Like if you go lower, it's going to be really hard to get it. You probably want to go even higher because it's good sometimes to just drop 2 cards in Twin Suns because it's hard to get a board stabilized if you need to, but you need at least that. So you're going to need to go up to 18, 19 turn 1 place is the step 1, like that, just to have like, okay, I can play. But I do think also it's going to give you a lot more space for tech cards, like not the unit tech, but cards that does the stuff against different things, like
specific.
A card like Confiscate can be, because if someone runs Frozen in Carbonites and puts it on your leader, it's just going to sit there.
Yep.
And no one is going to help you out. Like, why would they take that away? Your leader can sit there if he wants to. Or stuff like that. So I do think a card like Confiscate, and right now I can never fit it in my 50 because I want to play so many cards. But running 1 in 80, let's do it. I do think that it's super fun that you can play more cards that are like, you can play more smuggle cards from set 2. Like there are some good smuggle cards that you can run, and like a card like Timely Intervention from in Command should probably be in every command deck. But there are a bunch of my decks where I'm not running it because it's I want all of these cards, and that's already 55 cards. So if I'm optimizing it and making the best deck ever, of course I'm going to put it in. But it's not as fun because I want these cards. So no, drop it, whatever.
And I think having a bigger deck size makes the games feel maybe more varied, since you can't rely on some really key strong cards. Like you can't always have Crate Dragon as your win condition because you might not draw it. You only have 1 in the 80. And it's going to force you to play more cards that maybe aren't as strong, or so it's also opening up like a nice design space.
It becomes even more chaotic, which is good.
And then we jump to Lightspeed. Obviously, we have more space possibilities as well. So the decks, I guess, will be more balanced.
I do think that the good thing about having Jump to Lightspeed being a space-focused set, and that is the same time you bump to 80, is that right now it's hard to build a space deck. Like it's almost impossible. Like I tried to build like the Django Tarkington deck that is interesting in Premiere right now. Okay, can we build a space deck? And I was like, maybe I can build like 20 cards in space, but then it's like 5 to 8, 10 of them are really bad. Like you don't even want to play them even in Twin Suns. So then it's like, okay, it's almost impossible to run a space focused deck. But with Jump to Lightspeed, it's going to be more focused on space. Like you can build a space deck, but it's also like you probably need to go up to 10 to 15 space cards in most decks. So I do think that it's good that they also fill out the arenas with the set, and that is the same time we go up to 80 cards.
Yeah. Okay. For our last section, we have some topics that we got suggested from Discord. And I think we should move on because we probably want to discuss these also a little bit. The first question was, what can FFG do to help promote the format? Because, for instance, with Commander, we have specific products like pre-constructed finished decks. Is that something we want to see, expect to see, or other things that would be really nice for the format?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think right now it's the time to do pre-con decks. I think it's way too early in that, and I think it has to grow a little bit more. But maybe in the future. But right now, there are so many other cards that we can put in and use deck lists and stuff. So
yeah, I think it's a really nice way for people to learn the game. Like to buy a pre-built decks, like the starter decks or the upcoming, I don't know what they're called, but they're not going to be a pair of two anymore. They're just going to be one deck.
Yeah, showcase decks.
Yeah, showcase decks, they call them. So that could be really nice upcoming for Twin Suns as well. But I think right now it might be a bit early. And also it's difficult with like the value of the cards that are in those decks. Do you want exclusive cards to kind of make people buy them? Or do we just want cards that are good, like strong legendaries that might be expensive on the second-hand market? Or should it just be like a cheap price point? The cards aren't that valuable, but the value is there because new players can just pick it up and play.
Yeah, I do think that the pre-con Twin Suns decks are not there yet. Like, I do think it's still relatively easy to find cards. Like, sure, some of the legendaries are expensive, but like they're not gonna put them in the pre-con, like no matter what. So that is not happening. So then it's like, okay, is there some really good rares that are good in Twin Suns that you want? Yeah, probably, but most of them are not even good in Premier, even so they're cheap also. So it's not that it's like. So then it's like, okay, do we want this as an introduction product to get more people to start playing Twin Suns? And yes, that might be, but also if you want people to buy Twin Suns packs, you probably need to already have a community where people play Twin Suns, so that someone that shows up at the store, oh, what are you playing? Oh, no, we're playing Twin Suns. Go up and buy this and then come down and play with us.
Yeah.
Or whatever, if they want to invest, or here, have a deck, try this, and then if you want to try it home or take your own, just buy that and start from there. But I do think it's not there yet. I do think it's going to happen, and it's a no-brainer in the future. I do think that one thing that could be really cool is to introduce new cards that are Twin Suns specific and maybe not even legal in Premier.
Yeah,
that could be a good way to introduce cards. Like you have some kind of way of making them like this is not legal or whatever, or you release a triple cunning card, because like triple cunning, like no one is going to play this in Premier, like because it's impossible. But in Twin Suns you can play triple cunning, and then you play this card because it's whatever. Like I'm not sure. I'm just brainstorming here, but I do think that there are ways to introduce new cards into Twin Suns that are good in Twin Suns. I do not hope they make Twin Suns decks that are Premier good, like where you need a chase a card. They haven't done it so far with the showcase and the starter decks, so I do think they've been good at it. So
yeah, I've got the Flesh and Blood round table set, and they have one of those cards in there. Yeah.
There's been a card that's been played in a class for a year and a half now that's only available in that 4-player starter multiplayer. Like it's a card that's not even that good, but you have to play it in one class, and it was like 200 kroners.
That really sucks.
Like 20 euros, and the card should be like nothing because it's not good enough to be worth it. It was because it was.
So yeah, if anyone wants to buy that, it's up for grabs now. So yeah, just get in contact with me.
All right then. So moving on to the next question. We have questions about the competitiveness of Twin Suns and if we think it's gonna become, and if it can become, a competitive format. or if it's not possible because of the rules and how it's played?
I think it's definitely important to keep Twin Suns at the casual level.
Yeah.
I don't think Premier should be Premier, and then the casual, you have these other areas just to, build the community. You've got draft, which isn't at the, competitive level yet. You've got, draft sealed. So Twin Suns is that area, and it's just such a fun experience that I don't think it should be at that Premier level. So I just think let's just keep it casual.
Yeah, I do think it shouldn't be a competitive format like FFG calls this is a competitive format. I do think that you can compete in it in like on this day we're just gonna do a small tournament. There are some things you need to do, and I do think that it can work. It's still like your locals, like we're having a season tournament, but it's still a local, so it's still mostly fun. Like it's still more fun than it is competitive. I do think that you can compete in it, and I do think that there are you can have a smaller tournament with everybody gets something, but if you win, you get one extra pack, like whatever. I do think that is possible. I know that something was done, and there are some small tweaks you need to do because you can't have a draw and stuff like that, and whatever. But yeah, I do think it's mostly a casual format, and it should be that.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you guys said. I think since it is a multiplayer format, it can lead to more discussion, shouting at each other, backstabbing, if you would have it at really competitive events, right? If you said if I attack them, will you do the same? And then it's actually, I'm gonna attack you now. And then I don't know. I just feel like the multiplayer of it would make a lot of people perceive it as unfair. And so I think right now with the 1v1. Okay, so last question was if we could highlight some cards that are great in Twin Suns, but that kind of suck in Premier. Or not necessarily suck, but don't see us. You guys have some come to mind?
I think for me, Sentinel is a very important keyword and an ability in this for Twin Suns, because playing Chewbacca, having so much Sentinel in the first two games, people want to hit base, people want to hit things they can hit. So I kind of got ignored to begin with, which allowed me to stabilize a bit. So Sentinel was definitely important.
Yes.
But that is such a low-hanging fruit, though. Like that is the first things that I think most people realize is that, if I have a Sentinel and someone can choose either they are attacking a base or they're attacking my Sentinel and they are losing their unit and I'm not losing mine, they're going to attack a base because it's more value. Or at least for that individual, it's more value. So they need to work together to kill your Sentinels.
So that's Sentinel. Any other cards?
I do think that just because Sentinel is so good, Saboteur is really good. So any unit that has Saboteur is all of a sudden a threat because they can just ignore that Sentinel. One other thing that Saboteur is really good against is the shields, because like I talked about my first deck with Luke, is that if you put a shield on something, then they don't want to attack it, and you can attack for free almost because you don't lose your unit. But Saboteur just kills the shield and then deals damage to the unit.
Yeah.
And because of that, there is 3 cards that I've highlighted during Saboteur, which are Precision Fire, which is a red card that no one runs because it's give a unit attack with a unit, give it Saboteur. If it is a trooper, it gets +2 damage. But even the attack with a unit, give it Saboteur means that if you have something big and they have a Sentinel, I think they are safe. You can just kill them outright. They just die. Other cards that doing the same thing is Swoop Down, which is give a space unit Sentinel, but you can also attack the ground if you want. Saboteur, but you can also attack the ground if you want to. But you can just use it only for this Saboteur. Yeah, that is in Cunning. And then you have the other Cunning card, Break In, which is +2 is Saboteur. So those 3 cards, and there are other ways to give Saboteur or take away Sentinel and stuff like that. All of that is good. But like these three are highlight because it's in one action, you give a saboteur and you attack at the same time.
Yeah.
And that can win a game, because if someone like, okay, I'm killing Jonah and Jason can't kill me because I have a sentinel in front of me, so that's fine, I'm going to win the game. And all of a sudden Jason is like, yeah, but I have Darth Vader sitting here and now he's attacking you with saboteur, so now he took away the 5 HP used heal, so now I win instead. So like you can flip the math with those 3 cards.
Yeah.
In one action.
Oh man, there is so much math in this game. It's crazy.
Yeah, the math game in the last turn.
Yeah, so when you look at a lot of cards that you might even play in Premier, some of them actually say each and you just didn't realize. So for instance, like the Reckless Gunslinger, which is a 1-cost red unit you can also smuggle. It says deal 1 damage to each base. So that could be kind of sneaky, just getting that in from the smuggle.
K2SO is such like, is again like it's great in Premier, but like you choose for every opponent they discard or you deal 3 damage on every opponent. So you can even like, yeah, it's each
for
opponent.
Each opponent. What?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
Yeah. Yes. And you choose for each opponent. It's not like you choose one thing in everybody. So you can like,
wow.
Now I want to deal damage to you, but you only have 1 card left. I'm gonna take that card, and then like deal 3 damage to you again. So, but that is good in Premier. So it's kind of a cheat, but yeah, it's great.
And then Smoke and Cinder. That is a really, really great card for this set.
But actually, Jason, you can't play that because then everybody will hate you.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
they're gonna take it the 2 cards and deal with it. Right? But yeah, it can be really good.
Yeah, it can.
Some other cards that are really good that are almost unplayable in Premier are the Vigilance card Repair. Heal 3 damage from a unit or base. Again, like if you're in the end game and someone like, again, the same math, I'm killing Yona, I have 2 more HP than Jason. He doesn't have any units left to deal damage. I win. But you have 1 resource, you play Repair, you heal 3, and you win. It just ends the game. If you're in Heroism, you can use Smuggler's Seed. You can even smuggle it for 3, so you can just end the game. Now I win. There's also cards that are like, yeah, like restore in general, but like those are on the board. You can think about it. But like cards that you can't see are really good.
Yeah.
I have one other card that is also such a card that is like it has one games, which is Mercenary Company, and it's such a weak card. It's a 5/5 for 6, but it has Ambush and Overwhelm. So you can, if you have 6 roses, you have a small thing sitting there, you attack them, you play the card, you ambush, you overwhelm, and you can kill someone with it. So now you kill something when everybody thought you couldn't, and then you heal 5, and all of a sudden the game like
direct damage is super nice.
So like overwhelm is same thing, like overwhelm, saboteur, like stuff like that ignores whatever is on the board. But like this card has both things. Like it has ambush and it has overwhelm. So even though it's super understated in Twin Suns, it can win a game.
Yeah. Or you can just play Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul.
And another thing is ramping or ramp cards. So, taking those early turns if you can to get as much ramping as possible. And people are focusing on other people. So that's a good. I think that's a good strategy as well.
Yeah, and if you don't have any units, they're not gonna worry about you. So you can ramp.
Yes, and like if you play some later, like deploying leaders, like on 6 or 7, when you get both of them out on the same turn, that could be a huge swing, and getting to those earlier is super nice.
Yeah, and then we already talked about it, but bounties are good. Like, it's not good like you're gonna collect it. It's good like, that saboteur that no one wants to attack, let's put a bounty on it, and then everybody wants to attack that saboteur. So all of a sudden it's worth spending the energy to kill it because you get something back for it. So then it helps people do what you want them to do. Like, don't attack my unit, attack this unit. Hey, there's 2 units to attack. So yeah, there are a lot of keywords that are good, but like there are some cards that make that really good, and like like changed the math. And
okay, so let's wrap this episode up then, because you're getting a bonus one from this week, but I think it's really good that we talk about this when we go into Twin Suns and get a really good a really good introduction to Twin Suns, at least from us, and going into this new area of Twin Suns with 80 cards in your deck. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you very much, listener, for joining in. If you haven't already, come and join our Discord. Subscribe to us on YouTube. We've got some stuff coming up this weekend. We're going to be doing the Manatorsk store showdown. We're going to be doing Stockholm PQs. We're going to be doing the Oslo PQs, and so that's a lot of really good reasons to make sure that you have subscribed to get that video content coming in as well. So make sure you do that. And also, like, a huge thank you to you, Tobias, for kind of giving us such a really good insight into this Twin Suns format, running us through those decks, and really great job with the the names and those decks and those themes as well. So I really recommend that you as a listener kind of go out, try some deck building yourself, put some decks in, and let us know what you come up with and what the fun names you can also come up with as well. That'd be really cool.
I just wanted to thanks for all the inspiration of the decks, the funny titles you had, Tobias. I also really want to build Twin Suns decks now.
I have to put a title on it, because it's a great way. You put a meme there, or a pun there, or just put something fun, like something that makes the deck, like, it makes it yours. So I love it. And thanks for having me. This was great. It's a great podcast, and I've been an avid listener even on my downtime, and I'm happy to be a small part of the podcast and to help build the community in the Nordics, but also the entire world. It's a fun game, and play Twin Suns. If you ever I don't have time to go to the PQs, and I don't have time to travel around, do that. Just get a couple of friends together and play Twin Suns. It is fun.
And bring your Twin Suns deck to those events.
Yes.
Because I hope people will start to pick it up more, and maybe when you're out, you can have a game. And they even said at the sectors and regionals that they might gonna have some Twin Suns spots.
Yeah, I'm bringing my Twin Suns decks to my store showdown this weekend. So
nice.
I'm all in.
Follow us in real life, stalk us home, watch.
Yep, here's my address, here's my telephone number, get in contact with me and I'll tell you exactly where I'm going to be. Come and stalk me. No, we're going to end this episode here. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week. May the force be with you, and good night.